The first hint of trouble came on an otherwise ordinary Tuesday morning. Astronomers at the Mauna Kea Observatory in Hawaii noticed an anomaly that defied conventional explanation. Dr. Sarah Chen, lead researcher of the Deep Space Monitoring team, squinted at the holographic display, her coffee growing cold beside her. The data stream showed massive spatial distortions, unlike anything she had ever witnessed in her 20-year career. "This isn't a natural phenomenon," she muttered, her fingers dancing across the advanced quantum interface. Nearby screens began to flicker, quantum sensors picking up unprecedented energy signatures that seemed to bend the very fabric of space-time. Thousands of miles away, in the underground command center beneath the North American Aerospace Defense Complex, alarms erupted. In a cacophony of digital warnings, Lieutenant Michael Rodriguez, no relation to the quantum physicist who would later become crucial to humanity's survival, watched in rising tension as global satellite networks began to detect something unprecedented. The Zarkak ships emerged from hyperspace like nightmares given crystalline form. Massive vessels that defied conventional understanding of physics, they appeared to be grown rather than constructed. Each ship was a living testament to an alien technology so advanced it bordered on the mystical. Their hulls shifted and rippled, adaptive camouflage, making them seem to blend and distort against the backdrop of stars. Captain Vexara of the lead vessel, a seasoned conqueror who had subjugated over 40 planetary systems, reviewed the initial planetary scans with a mixture of professional detachment and barely concealed contempt. Humanity appeared to be precisely what the hegemony's intelligence reports had suggested, a primitive species barely capable of exploring its own solar system. The ship's advanced sensors painted a comprehensive picture of Earth: primitive communication networks, limited space exploration capabilities, fractured political systems, technological infrastructure that seemed laughably inadequate compared to the Zarkax's millennia of galactic dominance. This would be another routine planetary acquisition, another statistic in the hegemony's endless expansion. What the Zarkax did not understand was the nature of human potential. In research laboratories, military installations, and universities across the globe, the first warnings began to spread. The initial response was not panic, but a curious mixture of scientific excitement and strategic assessment. Humanity had long wondered about the possibility of extraterrestrial life, and now that first contact was happening in the most dramatic way possible. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, who would later become a pivotal figure in humanity's resistance, was teaching a quantum mechanics lecture at the moment the alien ships appeared. Her students' smartphones began to buzz simultaneously, a cascade of emergency alerts that interrupted her discussion on quantum entanglement. "Interesting timing," she remarked dryly, walking to the lecture hall's massive display screen. The image of massive alien ships filled the room, transforming an ordinary academic moment into something extraordinary. Military installations around the world shifted into high alert. But this was not the disorganized response the Zarkax anticipated. Centuries of geopolitical tension seemed to dissolve in moments, replaced by a unified recognition of a threat beyond any terrestrial conflict. In Beijing, Tokyo, Moscow, Washington, London, and countless other cities, government and military leaders began an unprecedented level of coordination. Old rivalries were set aside with remarkable speed. The quantum communication networks that the Zarkax believed to be primitive began to pulse with unprecedented levels of information exchange. Captain Vexara would later reflect that this was the first moment humanity surprised the hegemony. Not with technology, not with weapons, but with a capacity for immediate, almost organic collaboration that defied all previous encounter protocols. The crystalline ships continued their approach, weapon systems humming with destructive potential. They cast massive shadows over Earth's major cities, a visual declaration of imminent conquest. They had no idea what was coming. The first plasma bombardment struck Tokyo at precisely 14:37 Universal Coordinated Time. Massive energy beams carved through skyscrapers, turning architectural marvels into molten landscapes in seconds. The Zarkaks expected terror, anticipated collapse, prepared for the standard planetary submission they had engineered countless times before. They did not get what they expected. Lieutenant Michael Rodriguez watched from the North American Aerospace Defense Complex as the initial attack unfolded. Instead of chaos, he observed something remarkable. Emergency response teams were moving with precision that defied the scale of destruction. Civilian communication networks, which the aliens had dismissed as primitive, suddenly transformed into sophisticated coordination platforms. In Tokyo, survivors began organizing rescue efforts before the first dust had settled. Construction workers, office employees, retired military personnel, everyone became part of an impromptu rescue network. Medical professionals who had trained for decades in disaster response now put those skills into action with machine-like efficiency. Dr. Elena Rodriguez's quantum mechanics research team had been preparing for unprecedented scenarios long before the invasion. When the first energy weapons struck, they were already implementing contingency plans, developed through years of theoretical research about potential extraterrestrial threats. "This is not just about defense," Dr. Rodriguez told her team as they moved critical research equipment to underground backup facilities. "This is about understanding. Every moment of this invasion is a data point." Global military leadership convened through secure quantum communication channels. What would have taken days of negotiation mere hours earlier now happened in minutes. The United Nations Security Council, typically a forum of careful diplomacy, transformed into a real-time strategic command center. General Marcus Thompson, commander of the United States Space Defense Command, presented the first comprehensive analysis of the alien attack patterns. His presentation wasn't about military bravado, but a clinical, almost academic breakdown of the invasion strategy. "They're systematic," Thompson explained to the gathered international military leaders. "But systematic means predictable, and predictable means vulnerable. The Zarkaks had conquered worlds by following a precise invasion protocol. First, massive energy bombardment to destroy critical infrastructure. Second, targeted strikes against communication and government centers. Third, ground force deployment to secure key strategic locations. Humanity was about to demonstrate why their protocols would fail. In underground research facilities across the globe, scientists began a remarkable collaborative effort. The quantum communication networks that the Zarkaks had dismissed as primitive became something else entirely, a distributed, adaptive intelligence network. Dr. Akira Tanaka in Osaka began analyzing the plasma weapon signatures. In New Delhi, Dr. Priya Sharma cross-referenced the energy dispersal patterns. In Cambridge, a team led by Dr. James Holbrook started developing theoretical countermeasures. These were not isolated efforts, but a global brain trust working in near-instantaneous synchronization. Civilian populations responded with an adaptability that would have shocked the Zarkaks. Social media platforms transformed into real-time intelligence-gathering systems. People shared satellite imagery, energy weapon impact zones, and survival strategies faster than any centralized communication system could manage. Emergency services in every major city adapted within hours. Hospitals converted parking structures into emergency medical centers. Universities became temporary shelters and research stations. Every institution was rapidly repurposing itself for survival and resistance. The Zarkaks had studied humanity's technological capabilities. They had analyzed satellite imagery, intercepted communications, and built comprehensive files about human civilization. What their advanced intelligence had failed to comprehend was human spirit, the ability to transform, adapt, and unite in the face of existential threat. As the first day of invasion drew to a close, the Zarkaks' command would have been confused by what they were witnessing. This was not a planetary population preparing for submission. This was a global organism preparing to fight back. Humanity was not just resisting, they were learning. The quantum physics research facility beneath Stanford University buzzed with an energy that defied the dire circumstances outside. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before a holographic display, her fingers tracing complex mathematical equations that seemed to dance and shift with each touch. "It's not just about disruption," she explained to her international team of researchers connected through quantum communication links. "We need to understand the fundamental communication infrastructure of the Zarkaks technology." Surrounding her were scientists from 13 different countries, each bringing unique perspectives to the most critical research project in human history. The team included experts who would have been competitors in any other scenario: theoretical physicists, quantum engineers, cybersecurity specialists, and advanced computational theorists. Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura from the Tokyo Institute of Technology noticed something peculiar in the energy signature patterns. "Look here," he said, highlighting a section of the quantum communication spectrum. "There's a harmonic resonance that doesn't follow standard wave propagation models." The global research team worked with a synchronicity that would have been impossible just days earlier. National boundaries disappeared, replaced by a unified goal of understanding and defeating the alien technology. Universities, research centers, and even private technology companies pooled their resources in an unprecedented collaborative effort. In a converted automobile factory in Detroit, engineers began transforming everyday technology into potential defensive systems. What had been an assembly line for electric vehicles now produced experimental quantum disruption devices. Welders, programmers, and electrical engineers worked side by side, their skills combining in ways no military training manual could have predicted. Dr. Rodriguez's breakthrough came during a 72-hour continuous research session. She had been analyzing the quantum communication network of the Zarkaks ships when a pattern emerged, a subtle vulnerability that no other species had ever detected. "It's a quantum entanglement network," she explained to General Marcus Thompson during a secure briefing. "Their entire communication system relies on a hyper-complex quantum entanglement matrix. But that complexity is also its greatest weakness." The implications were profound. The Zarkaks believed their quantum communication network was unbreakable. They had used this technology to coordinate invasions across multiple star systems, believing it to be completely secure and undetectable. They were wrong. Makeshift laboratories emerged in the most unexpected locations. A converted high school gymnasium in rural Minnesota became a critical research center for quantum signal analysis. An abandoned shopping mall in suburban Chicago transformed into a hub for developing experimental communication disruption technologies. Dr. Priya Sharma, connecting from a secure facility in New Delhi, discovered a way to create quantum interference, patterns that could potentially destabilize the alien communication network. Her team worked with a combination of theoretical physics and practical engineering that defied traditional scientific boundaries. "We're not just trying to block their communications," Dr. Sharma explained during a global research conference. "We're attempting to understand and manipulate the fundamental quantum state of their technological infrastructure." The global research effort was more than a military response. It was a collective intellectual endeavor that represented the best of human potential. Scientists who had spent careers in narrow specializations now found themselves collaborating across disciplines, creating solutions that no single approach could have discovered. Military strategists began to integrate these scientific discoveries into potential defensive strategies. Each breakthrough wasn't just a scientific achievement, it was a potential weapon against the alien invasion. By the end of the first week, what had started as a desperate attempt to understand alien technology had transformed into something more. Humanity was not just defending itself, it was learning, adapting, and preparing to turn the invasion on its head. The Zarkax had chosen the wrong planet to attack. As night fell across the research facilities around the world, the quantum displays continued to pulse with possibilities. Humanity's greatest weapon was becoming clear. Not advanced technology, but the ability to learn, adapt, and unite in the face of an unprecedented threat. Major Sarah Chen studied the holographic tactical display, her fingers tracing potential, movement patterns that would have seemed impossible to any traditional military strategist. The underground command center hummed with an energy of controlled chaos, a testament to humanity's rapidly evolving response to the alien invasion. The Zarkax invasion protocols were meticulously designed. They had conquered countless civilizations by following a precise, mathematically calculated approach to planetary subjugation. Their strategic algorithms had been refined over millennia, accounting for every possible resistance scenario. They had never encountered humans. In the streets of occupied cities, resistance took forms the Zarkax could not comprehend. A group of urban architects in Mumbai transformed the city's complex infrastructure into a living maze. Underground transit systems, electrical networks, and communication grids became weaponized defensive systems. What appeared to be random urban chaos was actually a carefully designed resistance infrastructure. In Tokyo, a network of retired engineers and technology experts began repurposing commercial electronics into sophisticated electronic warfare. Devices, smartphones became signal interceptors, wireless routers transformed into communication jamming systems. Every piece of technology became a potential weapon. Major Chen's team developed what military analysts called quantum guerrilla warfare tactics. Instead of traditional military engagements, they created a constantly shifting network of resistance that defied conventional military understanding. "We're not fighting like an army," she explained during a global strategic briefing. "We're fighting like a living system, adaptive, unpredictable, impossible to completely neutralize." The Zarkax ground forces encountered resistance that violated every invasion protocol in their databases. In suburban neighborhoods, community networks became intelligence-gathering platforms. Elderly residents became lookouts. School networks transformed into communication relays. Children's online gaming platforms became encrypted communication channels. General Marcus Thompson oversaw the strategic implementation of these unconventional approaches. His command style rejected traditional military hierarchies, instead creating a fluid, adaptive command structure that could respond to changing circumstances with lightning speed. In rural areas, agricultural communities demonstrated an unexpected form of resistance. Farmers used their deep understanding of local terrain to create natural obstacles. Irrigation systems became defensive water management networks. Agricultural machinery was rapidly modified into makeshift defensive equipment. Dr. Elena Rodriguez's quantum research team provided critical support, developing technologies that allowed resistance groups to stay one step ahead of alien tracking systems. Quantum encryption methods turned local communication networks into nearly unbreakable communication platforms. the psychological warfare was equally sophisticated. Resistance groups began releasing carefully crafted media content designed to exploit the Zarkax's limited understanding of human culture. Viral videos, strategic misinformation, and complex narrative campaigns created confusion within the alien command structures. A team of anthropologists and communication experts worked alongside military strategists to develop psychological disruption strategies. They analyzed the Zarkax communication patterns, identifying subtle weaknesses in their collective decision-making processes. In the mountains of Peru, an indigenous community used traditional survival techniques to create a resistance network that completely baffled alien tracking systems. Their deep understanding of local terrain, combined with modern technology, created a defensive network that was invisible to conventional scanning methods. Hackers from around the world united in a global cyber resistance movement. What the Zarkax saw as primitive communication networks became sophisticated warfare platforms. Social media became an intelligence-gathering tool. Online gaming platforms transformed into encrypted communication networks. By the end of the first month, the Zarkax invasion force found itself facing a resistance that defied every known invasion protocol. Humanity was not just fighting back. They were reimagining the entire concept of warfare. The alien commanders began to realize a terrifying truth. They were no longer the hunters. They had become the hunted. The global command center beneath the Swiss Alps represented humanity's most ambitious collaborative effort. Representatives from every continent worked in a facility that looked more like an advanced scientific research station than a traditional military headquarters. General Marcus Thompson stood at the central holographic display, watching the real-time global resistance unfold. Industrial complexes around the world had transformed with remarkable speed. A textile factory in Bangladesh now produced advanced communication jamming equipment. An automotive plant in Detroit manufactured quantum disruption devices. A ceramics workshop in Japan created specialized heat-resistant materials for defensive technologies. Dr. Elena Rodriguez arrived with her latest quantum communication analysis. Her team had been working on a breakthrough that could potentially revolutionize how humanity understood and countered alien technologies. The massive display showed complex quantum entanglement patterns that looked more like abstract art than military intelligence. They're predictable, she explained to the assembled global leaders. The Zarkax have a fundamental flaw in their invasion strategy. They rely too heavily on centralized communication and decision-making. Satellite imagery revealed the true extent of human adaptation. Cities that appeared devastated from orbit were actually thriving underground networks of resistance. What the Zarkax interpreted as destruction was actually an elaborate transformation of human infrastructure. In the Amazon rainforest, indigenous communities combined traditional survival techniques with cutting-edge technology. Their deep understanding of local ecosystems became a critical defensive strategy. Camouflage techniques developed over thousands of years proved more effective than any alien scanning technology. The African Union emerged as a critical center of resistance innovation. Countries that had previously been overlooked by global powers now became key strategic locations. Their flexible infrastructure and diverse technological approaches provided unexpected advantages against the alien invasion. Major Sarah Chen coordinated a global communication network that defied traditional military communication protocols. Instead of centralized command structures, she developed a distributed intelligence network. Each resistance group became both an independent unit and part of a larger interconnected system. Agricultural regions transformed into critical support networks. Farmers used their understanding of terrain, weather patterns, and local resources to create defensive strategies that confused alien ground forces. Irrigation systems became water management defense networks. Agricultural machinery was rapidly modified into support equipment. Universities around the world became research and development centers for resistance technologies. What had been theoretical research projects suddenly became practical survival strategies. Quantum physicists worked alongside electrical engineers. Anthropologists collaborated with military strategists. The psychological warfare reached new levels of sophistication. A global team of communication experts developed targeted media campaigns designed to exploit weaknesses in the Zarkak's collective consciousness. Social media platforms became sophisticated intelligence gathering and distribution networks. In the Arctic research stations, scientists used their understanding of extreme environments to develop defensive technologies that worked in conditions the Zarkaks could not comprehend. Their deep knowledge of survival in harsh environments became a critical strategic advantage. Transportation networks transformed into mobile resistance platforms. Shipping vessels became communication relay points. Commercial aircraft were modified for reconnaissance and communication interception. Every piece of existing infrastructure became a potential weapon. General Thompson watched the holographic display with a sense of cautious optimism. Humanity was no longer just resisting. They were systematically dismantling the invasion strategy of the most advanced conquering force in the known galaxy. "We're not just fighting," he said to the assembled global leaders. "We're evolving." The Zarkaks had made a critical mistake. They had attacked a species that viewed challenges as opportunities for growth. Every moment of the invasion was a learning experience, every setback a chance to innovate. Humanity was writing a new chapter of its own history, and the galaxy was about to take notice. The quantum research facility beneath the Atacama Desert in Chile hummed with an intensity that matched the critical nature of humanity's fight for survival. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before a massive holographic display, her team working with a precision that bordered on artistic collaboration. "We're not just developing a weapon," she explained to the Global Defense Council. "We're creating a fundamental reimagining of technological interaction." The breakthrough came from an unexpected combination of disciplines. A team of quantum physicists, cybersecurity experts, materials scientists, and computational theorists had been working in continuous shifts. Their target: a complete understanding and disruption of the Zarkak's technological infrastructure. Cobbled together spacecraft filled Earth's orbital defense zones. These were not sleek, uniform military vessels, but a remarkable fusion of repurposed technology, commercial satellite platforms modified with experimental quantum drives, retired space exploration equipment upgraded with cutting-edge defensive systems, research satellites transformed into combat-ready platforms. Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura from the Tokyo Institute of Technology discovered a critical vulnerability in the Zarkak's energy transmission systems. His team had been analyzing intercepted alien communication signals, finding patterns that the Zarkaks believed were undetectable. "It's in the quantum harmonics," he explained during a global research conference. "Their entire technological infrastructure has a fundamental resonance frequency that can be manipulated. The global manufacturing effort defied conventional understanding. Automobile factories produced quantum communication disruptors. Consumer electronics companies developed advanced signal jamming technologies. Every industry became part of the global defense effort. In orbit, the first modified human spacecraft began to engage Zarkak's vessels. These were not traditional military engagements. Each encounter was a complex dance of technological innovation, with human pilots using unpredictability as their primary weapon. Major Sarah Chen coordinated the orbital defense strategy. Her approach rejected traditional military engagement protocols. Instead, she developed a fluid, adaptive combat methodology that confused and destabilized alien defensive systems. The Zarkak's command began to realize something terrifying. Humanity was not just resisting, they were learning and adapting faster than any species the hegemony had ever encountered. Dr. Rodriguez's quantum disruption technology proved to be the ultimate game changer. The device looked almost absurdly simple, a compact unit that could be mounted on existing satellite platforms, but its internal complexity was breathtaking. It could send quantum interference patterns that would destabilize entire sections of the alien fleet's communication network. Universities around the world became critical research centers. What had been theoretical research projects suddenly became practical survival technologies. Quantum physicists worked alongside electrical engineers. Computational theorists collaborated with materials scientists. The first large-scale test of the quantum disruption technology occurred over the Pacific Ocean. An entire section of the Zarkak's fleet simply went dark. Communication systems collapsed. Advanced defensive shields became useless. Sophisticated weapon platforms turned into inert masses of crystalline technology. Alien commanders watched in growing horror. Their most advanced technological systems were being systematically dismantled by a species they had initially dismissed as technologically primitive. Each human victory was a testament to something beyond technological innovation. It was a demonstration of collective problem-solving, of a species that viewed challenges as opportunities for growth and understanding. Dr. Nakamura's final analysis revealed the true nature of humanity's technological approach. "We don't just copy," he explained. "We reimagine, we transform, we see potential where others see limitation." The quantum disruption technology was more than a weapon. It was a fundamental reimagining of technological interaction. Humanity was not just fighting back, they were rewriting the rules of technological engagement. As the first modified human spacecraft began to systematically disable Zarkak's vessels, one thing became clear: the invasion was about to take an unexpected turn. The hunters were about to become the hunted. Earth's orbit transformed into a crucible of technological brilliance and strategic warfare. The combined human fleet, a remarkable fusion of modified commercial, research and military spacecraft, engaged the Zarkak's armada in a battle that would redefine galactic understanding of warfare. General Marcus Thompson commanded from the International Orbital Command Center, a converted international space station that now served as humanity's primary defensive headquarters. The holographic displays showed a complex dance of technological innovation and strategic adaptation. "They're predictable," Thompson murmured to Major Sarah Chen, analyzing the alien fleet's movement patterns. "And predictability is vulnerability." Dr. Elena Rodriguez's quantum disruption technology had transformed every human spacecraft into a potential weapon of mass technological neutralization. Each vessel carried specialized quantum interference generators that could systematically disable alien technological systems. The battle began with an unconventional approach. Instead of direct confrontation, human spacecraft used a distributed network of quantum communication disruptors. Entire sections of the Zarkak's fleet began to lose cohesion, their advanced communication systems collapsing from within. Orbital defense platforms that had been constructed in secret now revealed their true capability. What appeared to be standard communication satellites were actually sophisticated defensive systems. Commercial space exploration equipment became weapons of unprecedented complexity. Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura's team had developed a revolutionary approach to space combat. Their systems could predict and counter alien technological responses with remarkable accuracy. Each alien defensive maneuver was met with a counter-strategy that seemed to anticipate their next move. The Zarkak's commanders watched in growing desperation as their most advanced technological systems were systematically dismantled. Human spacecraft moved with an unpredictability that defied their invasion protocols. Where traditional military engagement would follow predictable patterns, these human vessels seemed to operate with a collective intelligence that was impossible to fully comprehend. In the atmospheric zones, modified aircraft and experimental aerospace vehicles joined the orbital conflict. Research planes designed for atmospheric research became advanced reconnaissance platforms. Experimental hypersonic technologies developed for scientific exploration now served as critical defensive systems. The global manufacturing effort reached its peak. Every industry had been transformed into a critical support network for the planetary defense. Automobile factories produced specialized spacecraft components. Consumer electronics companies developed advanced communication systems. Universities became research and development centers for revolutionary technologies. Major Chen coordinated a distributed combat strategy that rejected traditional military hierarchies. Each spacecraft operated as an independent unit, while simultaneously being part of a larger, interconnected network. Their communication systems used quantum encryption methods that the Zarkaks could not effectively counter. Dr. Rodriguez's final innovation became the turning point of the battle. A planet-wide quantum resonance field began to emerge, creating a technological interference pattern that systematically neutralized the alien fleet's most advanced systems. Massive Zarkaks ships, once symbols of unquestioned galactic dominance, began to transform into inert masses. Their advanced defensive shields collapsed. Sophisticated weapon platforms became useless against a technological approach they could not comprehend. The battle was not won through superior firepower, but through a fundamental reimagining of technological interaction. Humanity demonstrated a capacity for innovation that went beyond traditional understanding of warfare. We're not just fighting, General Thompson told the Global Defense Council. We're evolving in real time. As the final stages of the orbital conflict unfolded, it became clear that the Zarkaks had made a critical mistake. They had attacked a species that viewed challenges as opportunities for growth, limitations as potential for innovation. The human fleet moved with a collective intelligence that seemed almost organic. Each spacecraft was both an independent unit and part of a larger interconnected system. Their approach to combat was less about destruction and more about systematic neutralization. In the final moments of the confrontation, the Zarkaks fleet was not destroyed. It was systematically dismantled, its technological infrastructure rendered completely ineffective. Humanity had not just defended itself, it had rewritten the rules of technological engagement. 5 years after the invasion, the United Nations Galactic Cooperation Center stood as a testament to humanity's transformation. Representatives from emerging galactic civilizations gathered to study the most remarkable defensive effort in recorded history. Dr. Elena Rodriguez delivered the keynote address, her presentation a comprehensive analysis of how humanity had not just survived, but fundamentally changed galactic understanding of technological and strategic potential. We did not win through superior firepower, she explained to the assembled delegates. We won through adaptation, collaboration, and a unique approach to problem-solving that defies traditional military and technological paradigms. The global research initiatives that had emerged during the invasion continued to reshape human civilization. Universities that had become critical research centers during the conflict now led groundbreaking interdisciplinary studies. The boundaries between scientific disciplines had dissolved, replaced by a more holistic approach to understanding and innovation. General Marcus Thompson, now leading the Galactic Defense and Cooperation Initiative, spoke about the fundamental shift in human perspective. The invasion had transformed humanity's view of itself and its place in the universe. "We discovered something profound," Thompson told a group of young researchers. "Our greatest strength is not our technology. It is our ability to unite, to adapt, and to see potential where others see only limitations." The Zarkak's hegemony, once the most feared conquering force in the known galaxies, had been fundamentally transformed. Their invasion protocols were now studied as a case study in technological and strategic failure. Academic institutions across multiple star systems analyzed how a supposedly primitive species had completely dismantled their most advanced invasion strategy. Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura led a research team that continued to explore the quantum communication technologies developed during the conflict. What had begun as a defensive strategy was now becoming a revolutionary approach to interstellar communication and cooperation. Emerging spacefaring civilizations began to seek human consultation. The methods used to resist the Zarkak's invasion became a template for planetary defense and technological innovation. Human researchers were invited to advise on technological and strategic development across multiple star systems. The global manufacturing approach that had emerged during the invasion continued to reshape human economic and technological infrastructure. Industries that had transformed to support planetary defense now led groundbreaking innovations in multiple technological fields. Major Sarah Chen developed a new approach to international and interstellar cooperation. The distributed network strategies used during the invasion became a model for global and galactic communication, and problem-solving educational systems underwent a fundamental transformation. Schools and universities now emphasized collaborative, problem-solving, interdisciplinary thinking, and the ability to adapt to unprecedented challenges. The invasion had become a critical turning point in human educational philosophy. Space exploration efforts accelerated dramatically. What had once been a slow, competitive process became a collaborative global initiative. Multiple international and private organizations worked together, sharing resources and knowledge in ways that would have been unimaginable before the invasion. The quantum research facilities developed during the conflict continued to push the boundaries of scientific understanding. Breakthroughs in quantum communication, energy generation, and technological interaction emerged at an unprecedented rate. "We learned that our diversity is our greatest strength," Dr. Rodriguez often told students and researchers. "No single approach, no single perspective can solve complex challenges. It is only through collaboration that we can truly innovate." The Zarkak's diplomatic representatives, now part of a broader galactic cooperation initiative, continued to study humanity with a mixture of respect and bewilderment. The species they had deemed primitive had not just survived, but had fundamentally changed the understanding of technological and strategic potential. As humanity looked to the stars, the lessons of the invasion remained clear. Challenges were opportunities. Limitations were potential for growth. Diversity was strength. The galaxy had learned a crucial lesson. Never underestimate the potential of a species that views every challenge as a chance to evolve. Humanity was no longer just a planetary civilization. They had become a beacon of hope, innovation, and collaborative potential for emerging galactic societies. The invasion was over, but humanity's journey was just beginning.